happen again. The miracle of technology is with us. Yay! Hi, it's me, Sam Bennett from therealsambennett.com, here with my friend Kaylee Johnson. Hi, Kaylee.
Hello. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. All right, so I'd like to start everything with a little bit of breathing. It just gets us all sort of centered, and also reminds us that this is different time. This isn't like just another Zoom or just another webinar. This is a point of transformation. This is a point where you can get some information that maybe you never had before. This is where, oh, now I'm frozen. Why am I frozen? Stop. Ooh, I look like I'm startled. Hi, everybody. How's it going? See comments. Am I frozen for you guys or just for myself?
You are frozen.
Oh, now we're both frozen. Dag nabbit. We launched to update. Hold, please. Hold, please. Now I have a spinning beach doll of death. Okay. Everybody hang in there. This is the magic of technology.
The blessing and the curse.
The blessing and the curse. Exactly. My timer stopped, and that makes me nervous. Veronica, what are you seeing on your end? Anything might help us get out of it?
Sam, you're probably going to need to leave and come back because your camera is buffering and restarting.
Yeah, I just have a spinning beach ball of death, though. It's not letting me do anything.
Oh, yeah, that might need a hard restart.
Okay.
Everybody stand by. This sort of thing happens frequently with new streaming services, and there are 3 of us, so we are tripling the load this fine morning.
Not even letting me exit. Okay, I'm just. Oh man, dude. Okay, talk quietly amongst yourselves, everybody.
In the meantime, Kaylee, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you're about?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Kaylee Johnson. I am the CEO of a company called Digital Journey. So at Digital Journey, we help small businesses grow their social media platforms. So social media can be really overwhelming, and if you don't know where to start, you might not start at all. But social media is so important for social media platforms, and it's so important for connecting with potential customers and other business people. And social media is really the business card of today. So if you're not on social media, it's automatically going to make you more difficult to find, and sometimes people won't trust you as much. So even just being on one platform can radically change things. So we try to show that social media doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be time consuming, and it doesn't have to consume your money. There are ways to where you can create social media content and grow your social media platforms in less than 15 minutes a day. So that's what Digital Journey teaches, and I'm so excited to be here and talk with you all about it.
And we are so glad you're here because a lot of our people have a ton of questions about social media. And if you guys are watching in the chat, regardless of what platform you're on, and I'll try to translate from the places that are not feeding to our StreamYard, go ahead and type into the chat what your biggest question about social media is. And we'll start with that. I think probably top of mind question for a lot of people is which one is the quote unquote best one? So let's why don't we start there while we're waiting for everybody to type in their questions?
All right. Oh, I'm back.
Yay! Hi, everybody. Yay.
There she is.
Here I am. Great to see you all. Hi, Heather. Hi, Shirley, Robert. It's such a joy to see you all here. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for being patient. Kaylee, I'm sure you were just dropping some major wisdom bombs here. So, all right, let's just start with the thing I hear most, which is, again, a lot from my highly creative people, a lot from my shy, introverted people, which is, I hate social media. I hate it.
Right.
No, hate's a strong word. As my mother used to tell me as a child, hate is a strong word because I dislike it. It's not my favorite. Where do we start with that feeling of like, ugh?
Yeah. So I think one of the reasons social media can be so daunting and we can hate it is because we get overwhelmed because there's so many different platforms.
Yeah.
I mean, you have TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and it can just keep going on and on and on. And one thing I like to tell everyone is you don't have to be on every platform.
Okay, but no, write that down. I do not have to be on every platform.
Yes.
In fact, Can we even tell people, especially if you're just starting out, pick one?
Yeah.
Just one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I always say Facebook's a great one to start on.
Yeah.
Because so many people are on Facebook. You have businesses on Facebook, you have possible customers on Facebook, you have friends on Facebook. Most people have Facebook.
Mhm.
Facebook's one of the simple platforms to use, so I always say start on Facebook. Facebook is the way to go.
Terrific. Teresa says, totally not tech savvy, easiest option, Facebook.
Facebook, most definitely. It's been around the longest, so people are used to it. It's not changing all the time. There's not all kinds of new updates and filters and everything that's constantly going on. And it's easier because it's more simple.
I've also heard, and tell me if you think this is true, that especially for a slightly older audience, so like Gen X, boomers, like once we pick a platform and we're on it and we understand it, we're like, oh no, I'm not going anywhere. This is it. This is my
Absolutely.
platform.
Absolutely. Yes.
So it tends to be a fairly stable audience, unlike, say, Snapchat, where people are like coming and going all the time. Like I would never try to gather an audience on Snapchat, even if I understood what it was, which I don't. The other thing that I think is really interesting about what's happened with Facebook is over time how it's sort of changed. I mean, I remember 10 years ago, you couldn't really sell on Facebook. Like it
Right.
wasn't really a selling platform. People didn't feel comfortable clicking on ads. They didn't feel comfortable having sales conversations there. And now, I don't know what the algorithm is doing, but if it says linen tunic, it is in my feed and I am clicking on it.
That's awesome.
Right. So that's the other thing is they've got a lot of great ways for you to find people who are interested in what you're doing. But maybe we
Yes.
can talk about some of the other platforms and sort of who they might be good for or how we might. So my first advice, if you don't know which one to pick Facebook. Second piece of advice would be pick whichever one you like. Like
Yeah.
maybe if you love Instagram or you love TikTok or you love like whatever one you're on the most as a user, pick that one. But otherwise, now that's all I got.
That's
So
great. That's all amazing advice. That's awesome.
what else do we need to know about some of the other platforms? Where else might we look or how would we know?
Yes. So, one thing I like to talk about is your target audience. If you don't know who you're trying to sell to, you're not going to know which platform to be on. Because like Sam mentioned, normally the, Gen X platform is more so on Facebook, whereas you're going to have more Gen Alpha, Gen Z on TikTok or Instagram. So you really have to understand what platforms everyone is on. I've actually dropped a link in the comment to where I've gone through and broken down the main 6 platforms and said, what demographics, what kind of post is on there. So y'all can check that out if you want. But it really depends a lot on the type of platform, what type of content you like to create. If you like a lot of videos, then maybe you want to be on TikTok. If you hate videos and thinking about putting together trends and photos terrifies you, Facebook might be better, or X or LinkedIn. If you're trying to work with businesses, then definitely be on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, a lot of people forget about. I'm always so surprised by how many business owners or people trying to reach other business professionals aren't on LinkedIn. And yes.
And how much they're not updating their stuff.
Yes.
Like, because oftentimes now instead of going to somebody's website, I'll go to their LinkedIn. Just because
Absolutely.
it just seems easier and I feel like I'm going to get more of the straight story. I'm going to see who their friends are. I'm going to get more of the ecosystem that they're in. And that, but when I look and see like that they don't have a bio or that I know their bio is outdated or they don't have a photo or
yes. Yeah, and that's one thing. If you're going to be on a platform, make sure you're on it. If you are on Facebook, you have an account, but you never update it, you never post, it can even make you look less credible because people wonder, are they still doing what they say they're doing? Are they still alive? It's like, if you're not going to be on the platform, don't create a profile.
Good advice. Okay. The other thing I will say is for those of you who are like, oh, I really do have a couple platforms I want to be on or I want to test. There are plenty of social media schedulers where you can load up the same post for different platforms and it will post for you automatically so that at least there's some liveliness. So I've been posting to Twitter and Instagram for years. I have cumulatively spent probably half an hour total on both Twitter and Insta combined. Like I am never on there. But my content is.
Right.
My
Right.
content is, right?
Yeah, and one thing that I'm gonna just mention real fast is it isn't that difficult to quickly tailor a post to the platform.
Right.
It's really not. It can be as simple as adding an emoji to some or breaking it up into just individual sentences instead of paragraphs. So once you understand those couple of key tricks, it can make it where it seems like you've personalized that post for that platform when really it's the same, copy. You've written the same body and you're just swapping it up a little bit.
Right, right. So fewer emojis on LinkedIn. Remember, LinkedIn is sort of the buttoned up, post-event cocktail party where we're going to be very polite with each other and mostly talk about business, a little bit about our personal lives. Facebook, you can talk about whatever you want.
Mhm.
So Heather says, my struggle is how much and how often to post, and the amount of work to do that is a bit daunting.
That's very true. Yeah. And you'll hear different things from different people. They're finding out that posting every day isn't good. It really isn't, which I know, I'm so pleased about that. I'm like, "Oh, awesome. I don't have to create new content." Exactly. People can get overwhelmed if they see your content every day because, to be honest, often we're not that enamored by one person that we wanna see their content every day.
Right?
Just to be honest.
Woman kisses,
So
but
exactly, and I think what I do is I try to post 3 times a week. It's not that hard. It keeps it where you're fresh in people's mind. If you post like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, maybe you want to throw in a Saturday post, something like that. But it just keeps it where you're not overwhelming people with your content. You're not having to overwhelm yourself with creating content every day. And when I say doing a post, it could even be as simple as sharing someone else's post and writing your own thoughts above that.
So let's actually underline that a little bit because that is like a triply effective
Yes.
strategy. And it falls into the category of my favorite things in business, which is a win-win-win-win-win-win-win. Right? Okay, this link is crazy. Veronica, can you maybe make Kaylee a bit.ly or a shorter link off of that so in case
Oh, that'd
people
be great.
can't copy it? I don't We have a bit.ly account. Yeah. Okay. So sharing other people's posts is fantastic because you don't have to think of something out of the blank of your head. You can be saying like, oh, I think Kaylee's comments about rainbows and puppies is really great. I myself have rainbows and puppies in my dreams too. Blah, 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 whatever. Couple sentences, repost. Now, Kaylee's happy because her post is getting bigger reach. You're happy because you're bringing attention to someone that you like and respect and who's making a good point that maybe you didn't think about making, or maybe you have a very different opinion. Maybe you're like, I hate puppies and
Right.
rainbows. That's terrible. Nobody hates puppies and rainbows. Um,
And if they do,
and
you don't want to be doing business with them anyway.
that's correct. Make sure they share your values, people. And uh, and especially on LinkedIn, like that kind of sharing has a huge amount of credibility. It's you're doing
Yes.
something really kind for someone that you care about and letting your own voice get in there. And the other thing I would say that I've also heard, and tell me if this is true, is if you see somebody's post, like a friend of yours posts something, instead of just liking it, just type in an actual thing and use their name,
Yes.
right? So to say, Kaylee, totally agree about the rainbows, not so sure about the puppies. Like a little comment that's like more than 3 words, again, sort of raises all boats. It's better for their
Definitely.
post and better for you.
And even talking about just reacting to other people's posts, on Facebook or LinkedIn, you can hold the like button down and do different reactions. That actually acts and gives you higher status on that platform. So if you choose, instead of just liking it, to heart something, the algorithm realizes, oh, she took 3 steps in doing this process. Let's up that more. So
Yeah.
even just doing that simple thing that takes, less than half a second extra time, it's really going to help.
And I have to say, as my following has grown and my time available has shrunk, I don't always look at who's liked it.
Mhm.
Unless there's someone very specific that I'm looking to see who's liked it.
Right,
Unless I'm
right.
doing a little Facebook stalking and I want to see somebody specific that liked it. Did so-and-so walk past my locker today? I don't know.
Exactly.
Let's look. So actually giving a comment that says, oh, great point, Kaylee, or, thanks for sharing this, Sam. And And my big thing is always just like, just think of 3 words,
Mhm.
right? Fun, interesting, well said. You don't have to write a book report on everybody else's thing. Just a couple of words that lets them know that you've seen it. And then again, it attracts other people's eyes to content that you believe is actually good. Veronica did it. Okay,
Thank
so
you.
the real Sam Bennett. Oh, there's 2 T's in Bennett, though. Typo. And an E in the. This is what happens when we make people
When
do
it's
things.
rushed.
Sorry, Veronica. My fault. We should have set this up in advance, really. But this is the other beautiful thing about social media, which is that it all goes by in a nanosecond.
Yes.
So even if you post something dumb, or even if you get off into something you like, it's gone. Like,
Right.
it's gone.
And even going back to that, that's an easy way to post, is by resharing old content of yours, or just taking it and tweaking the words a little bit. If you notice, man, this posted really well, it's been 2 or 3 months. Most likely people have forgotten that post. And if you take it and you reword it a little bit, you have a whole new post that has been performing well. And that's a really easy way to get content going.
So good. All right, what else do we not know about social media? What are the questions you hear most often?
A lot of times I'll hear people say, I don't have the time for it, because it can be so overwhelming. Unless you're a content creator, you don't want to spend an hour or 2 hours a day working on social media. You just don't. You want to be able to have that time with your clients. You want to be able to have that time with your family, going on vacation. Because if you spend an hour every day on social media, that adds up quickly. And that takes money. And if you're paying someone else, another company, to do it, that takes money. Some people will pay another company $1,000 a month to run it. And they don't have as much of an investment in your company as you do. They don't have that love for your company. So time and money are 2 big things. And if you learn how to do it yourself, you can easily create a social media post in 15 minutes. Easily. Sometimes it might only take 5 minutes. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. And one nice thing, like Sam was mentioning, with scheduling things out, I know some people that sit down and take 2 hours once a month and plan out their social media for the rest of the month, and then they're done. They've used 2 hours. They haven't had to pay anyone, $1,000 or something like that. They've used that time and they have social media going now.
Yeah.
And all they have to do is go on occasionally and make sure they're responding to comments. So social media doesn't have to use as much time as you think it does, because we're not all passionate about that.
Right. And I think I always sort of think of all marketing as, the image in my mind is of me standing on a street corner, waving at people as they drive by, like, hello, hi,
Yeah.
hi. You know that thing I was doing? I'm still doing that.
I'm still here.
I'm still doing that thing that I was doing. I'm doing that. I'm still helping highly creative people. Hi, this is Kaylee. She's helping people with their social media. That's what we're doing. Hi, how's it going? Like, you're not selling anything. You're not pushing anybody. You're just
Yes.
like staying in front of them
Yes.
with a little sign that says, I'm still doing this. And you can think of 1,000 ways to keep saying it, new class starting soon, just got this feedback from a client, sharing client success stories, amazing.
Yes, that's huge.
And again, then, hashtag their business, at their business, so that, again, they're getting some juice too.
Right.
Origin stories, how did you get started?
Yes.
And also, don't ignore the puppies and rainbows. Just
Very
sharing
true.
cute shit.
Very true. I have an adorable puppy, and sometimes some of my best performing posts are when I post her. Everyone's like, oh my goodness. And it might be me mentioning, we have something really cool coming out next week. Ellie and I are so excited about it. And people are like, I'm so excited about it. And I'm like, yes, no, you're excited about my puppy. But yes, it's like, it doesn't have to be complicated. And you can have fun with it. It doesn't have to be boring. You can have fun with no matter what you're posting. I had one guy come up to me. He's like, I sell Petri dishes. How do I make this interesting? And instantly I was like, oh, you could do this. You could do this. You could make a goofy video about this. You could do a random fact. Things don't have to be boring. And that makes it a little easier to create content, because you don't feel it like you're falling asleep while you're creating it. And then your readers aren't falling asleep while they see it, or just scrolling past it.
So, hello, you out there, you highly creative person. Remember, the definition of marketing is anything you do to help people know you, like you, and trust you. Anything you do, y'all, I built a six-figure business sending out poems. That's poetry, people. I mean, if I can do it with poetry, you can do it with whatever your thing is. And don't be afraid to
Absolutely.
combine your interests, right? I always, if you're a plumber and you love vegan cooking, be the vegan cooking plumber. Like, share your favorite vegan recipes. If you're the Petri dish guy, okay, first of all, I think I'm like already like 57 unusual uses for a Petri dish.
Exactly. Exactly.
I was a Petri dish yesterday.
Exactly.
Terrifying.
And like Heather said, some interesting stuff does grow in Petri dishes. So,
Right? Exactly. So what and you're exactly right. When you do the things that interest you, it's a lot easier to get excited about doing it. It feels a lot more authentic and sincere.
yes.
And again, because social media flies by, it is a great place to kind of let your freak flag fly a little bit.
Mhm.
And there's no cost to it. I mean, it
Yes.
is literally free. So it's not like we're spending $10,000 to get on the back page of a magazine or something. You can really experiment and see what
Yes.
hits and what doesn't. What do you like doing? Some people make up little songs. Some people, my friend Lydia used to take a walk every day, and she would post a picture of all the money she found on a walk. So like, there's a picture of a penny. There's a picture of a quarter. There's a picture of a $20 bill. It's like,
That's nice.
and it was just, and now she raises chickens, and she's got pictures of her baby chickens, and yeah, it can really, so for you highly creative people, really anything you do. So don't let your mind be limited by what you're seeing other people do or the things that
Absolutely.
bore you or annoy you. Don't do those things.
And if you try to copy other people's content, it's not going to be your own. And people are going to realize that eventually. They're going to be like, this just sounds fishy. This just doesn't seem real. Because people can detect if things are authentic or not.
What do you have any good social media prompts? Anything where they're like, okay, but I still can't think of anything.
Yeah. Man, I love social media prompts. I have a whole running thing in my notes section of it. Something would be like 5 interesting things about what you do. So just going back to the guy with the Petri dish, 5 interesting uses that a Petri dish has. Asking questions to the people who are reading it. What do you think is the most unusual thing about the science department? Did you know that Petri dishes? I don't know. That's a really, really broad example, but asking engaging questions.
So
People
good.
love numbers. So 3 reasons why, da 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 da. 5 reasons why, da 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 da. Number 1, those sometimes perform the best because people want, it's like, oh, I don't have to spend a lot of time reading this, and I'm going to learn something interesting real fast.
I always fall for the ones where they say, like, are you making one of these 5 mistakes?
Yes, exactly. And that's
And like,
asking the
now I have
question
to
and adding the
know.
numbers in at the same time.
Right. Yeah. What are the questions that people are always asking you about what you do? What are the things that people are always misunderstanding about what you
Yes.
do? What are the questions they should be asking you about what you do?
Right.
So any of those things can be great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and uh, can you talk a little bit about creating images for social media?
Yes. So, one thing that's really important with images, and one of my pet peeves, is you need to have your images be clear. They don't need to be grainy. And I know this sounds so basic, but so many people do grainy photos. And it's like, if it's going to be a grainy photo, leave it off because it makes you look unprofessional. I know that's a small thing, but that really does stand out. Another one is the photo doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to have gone out and done a full photo shoot of you doing interesting things. It can be a photo of, what you're doing in your day-to-day life if you're wanting to get more personal. It could be just a simple photo. You want it to be simple. You don't want it to be that then when they look at it, they're so overwhelmed that they just scroll past it. But you want it to be interesting too. One thing, that the more colorful your photos are, the better they perform. Now, I'm not saying do a post that's all neon colors because then it's just like, this is obnoxious and you scroll by. But maybe you have a simple photo and you have a red object in it. That's a bright color that someone's going to stand by. This is especially true on Instagram. One of Instagram's main things is they want their users to feel happy while they're on the platform.
Mm.
So they've realized that brighter colors make people feel happier. And so they actually pay attention to how many colorful photos you're posting. If you're posting more bland, boring photos, they're not going to push you as much. So make
Mhm.
sure your photos are clear images and make sure they have some type of color to them, unless it's like you're specifically going for a black and white aesthetic. But make sure it's colorful and it's clear.
Yeah, Clark says Facebook always seems to degrade header image quality. Any idea how to keep that from happening?
Yeah, I think it depends on the way it's designed.
Mm.
I think it depends on how intentional it looks. Because sometimes it can look super generic and like you've just kind of put it together, slapped together, put it on, but make sure it looks intentional. Um, and that might seem like something small, but so many people will grab, a Facebook header image offline and slap it on and be like, "Oh, this is good enough." And it has nothing to do with their profile, nothing to do with their content or anything, and it just seems random. Yes. Oh my goodness, I love Canva. I am so glad Sam brought that up. That is my favorite thing. So for those of you that don't know, Canva starts off free and you can design infographics, you can edit photos on there. That's where I do all of my editing for creating Facebook banners, for creating, because it will resize it for you. It'll show you how to do all that. Canva is amazing. Cannot recommend it enough. That's great, Sam.
Canva has a magic resizer, so you can do
Yes.
a post that's, because you may have noticed that the sizes are a little different on
Right.
Instagram and Facebook. So you can do one for the one you're used to, Facebook, and then say magic resize for Instagram post, magic resize for LinkedIn post. And it's all pre-designed
Mm-hmm.
templates, so you know that graphically it's appealing, right? Because I don't have any
Yes.
graphic design things. I mean, I know enough. I know about the rule of thirds. I know about contrasting colors, kind of, color wheel, sort of. That's about it. Now you've tapped me out. I know not to use more than 2 fonts.
Yes. Yes. That's good. That's good.
I know to never use Comic Sans ever, ever, ever.
Yes.
Right?
I love
Um,
that. Most people don't, so I appreciate as someone that does a lot of graphic design, I appreciate that.
but now I'm pretty much tapped out. So you can take stuff that they have pre-designed for templates that they've pre-designed for you, and then you can swap out so that it's your colors, so that it's your font, so that it's your images. So you can sort of take their expertise, apply your own little flair to it. So Canva, it's free. And Kaylee's not kidding. You can do brochures, you can do resumes, you can do entire ebooks, you can animate them. Like you see those
Yes.
posts that are animated, Canva has a way to animate it.
Yes. Yeah. Canva's incredible.
It's an incredible, and it's really been cool to watch it grow. Like I was a very
Yes.
early adopter of Canva, and it could do like 2 things, and that was kind of it. And now it can do everything. It's incredible.
And even if you're maybe even looking for a social media post idea, sometimes I'll go onto Canva and look at the templates, be like social media templates, and all of a sudden be like, oh my goodness, here's a great idea of a post I haven't done before. And then I can edit that one and it looks like I've put so much work into it. When really it's like I had Canva do a lot of the work. I just worked on the type and all of that. So
And especially to see like what's trending, because
yes.
I don't know what's trending. Like, I live out here in the boonies in Connecticut. Believe me, there is nothing. It's barely 1988 out here, so like,
That's awesome.
I'm missing a lot of the trending. Heather brings up a good point too, which is she says, I think one of my big stumbling blocks is that I feel like the posts and images need to be perfect, so I just don't do it.
No, that's good. One thing is, I don't think any of us like seeing those perfectly curated social media platforms. Truly. I think we might be like, oh, that's so amazing. That's awesome. But then it's like, why don't I look that way? Why isn't my content like that? One thing we focus on Digital Journey is authenticity. People want to be real. You're going to make mistakes on social media, and that's fine. That makes you relatable. Now, I'm not saying go and purposely make mistakes because that's just dumb marketing, but it's going to happen, and don't freak out about it.
Yeah.
If you've done a post and you post it and you're like, ooh, that didn't really work like I wanted it to, or that didn't stand out, or that angle wasn't the best. Who cares?
Right.
It's okay, and you're gonna learn as you grow. You're gonna continue to learn more. And it's a journey. It's a process.
Yeah. You know, the thing because I work so long in personal branding, and we talk a lot about, so what is it about you that makes you distinctive, right? That's what personal branding is about. Who do people say you are? Who do you
Yeah.
say you are? Who do people say you are? And I can go for hours about this, but think of a word that people normally use when they describe you. Oh, that Kaylee, she's smart. She's a smart cookie, right? Probably. Some of you I know. Oh, Heather, she's so fun. Heather's up for games. Heather's game for anything, right? Who else is on here that I know a little bit that I can be hard on? Veronica, interested in 1,000 things. There's like nothing Veronica doesn't know about. She knows a little bit about everything, and sometimes a lot about everything. So whatever that is that people notice about you, lean into that, right? Lean into being friendly. Lean into being interested in a lot of things. Lean into being, smarter than your average bear. And because that's the charismatic light bulb, right? When you own the truth of who you are and understand that there's a spectrum, Heather says, yay, Sam thinks I'm fun. Yes, you are fun. And that can go everything from, pleasant to talk to at a cocktail party to, okay, Heather, too much fun, dial it down, being, intelligent. You've been everything from the genius who solves a problem to an overbearing know-it-all, sometimes in the same moment. Right? So you can, what I'm saying is that when you are leaning into something that's true about you, you have a little stretch, you can kind of go to the extremes of it a little bit. And people get it. They're like,
Yes.
oh yeah, I get it. I know that, Sam's friendly and sometimes she's going to dork out on being too friendly. Be like, oh my God, I love you. It's like, okay. All right. So to understand that, like, even if you're feeling shy or embarrassed or like, oh, that's not perfect, as long as it's not perfect in the way that you're not perfect.
Yes.
Does that make sense? You guys hear what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't know. I remember one time my sister, who's very much more visually organized than I am, she always says I have a much higher tolerance for visual noise.
It's a very sister comment.
Very sister comment. You have a much higher tolerance for visual noise. She's saying I'm a slob. But I said, yeah, no, I'm sort of going for the thrift store exploded aesthetic. She's like, congratulations, you've achieved it. No, this is it's not a bug, it's a feature, right? Yeah, let's see. Veronica says Veronica's Gazzardi, insufferable know-it-all. No, princess insufferable know-it-all. Let's see. Heather says you're not supposed to share that part. There we go. You just gave me the idea, believe it or not, from remembering myself taking out the recycling bins. Fantastic. Kaylee's smile is adorable, just saying. I'm glad to have caught this end of the chat. Thanks, ladies. Pleasure. All right, great. And Heather says, I'm learning to embrace the mess and love the chaos. Well, exactly. Yes. And I think that's maybe the most important thing. And that's the reason perfectionism can really be just a deal breaker is you're waiting for some moment that's never going to happen. And also, if I were putting myself out there like I was all perfecty schmerfecty all the time, my clients would be very disappointed when they met me.
And that's one of the biggest reasons people quit social media is like, it's not perfect. I haven't gone viral. I'm not doing it right. Yeah. And it's like, you don't have to go viral. Like, you're not going to do it perfect. And that's okay. People want to see authenticity. People want to feel like they can connect with someone. And if someone's perfect all the time, if their content's always curated in an impeccable way, they're not going to connect with you.
Yeah. I started working with a media company to help me create some of my social media stuff. And they have a very millennial girl power, girl boss aesthetic. And I was like, look, I like you guys and I like what you're up to. But let me just tell you right now, there will be no pink. There will be no me doing yoga on the beach.
Yeah.
There'll be no me with my girlfriends drinking champagne in the hot tub. Like,
and you stayed true to yourself. That's amazing. That's it.
We're clear. This will not look like everybody else's because I'm not into that and I don't want it to be stuck in that box.
Yes.
And they love working with me because they're like, oh my God, your stuff is so different. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm not afraid to look like a big dork because
you're not a cookie cutter. And that's perfect. That's perfect.
And my people aren't a cookie cutter. Right. And Kaylee and I know each other because we're in this mastermind together. We were just hearing a story earlier today about a third person in the mastermind who is moving from Pennsylvania to Colorado. She picked her realtor because she dug her Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Just followed her on Instagram,
Yes.
was trying to like find out like things about Denver because they're moving there, and found this realtor, dug this person's content, had a couple of phone conversations, and now that person's their realtor.
Yeah.
And how much is that? How much value is that to that realtor?
An extra client just for social media. Like that's huge. That's amazing.
Right. Teresa said that's what attracted me to you, Sam. See, I'm telling you what. Smith Corona typewriter in the woods. Yeah, no, that's what I do. I take pictures of my Smith Corona typewriter and me.
I love it though. It always makes me happy. I'm like, yes, Sam, I love it. I love it.
And I did. Some of you, the one question I haven't heard that I think may be lurking under here is, what about trolls?
Yep. So I worked for a company for a while that it was a nonprofit, but it dealt with a lot of controversial stuff. And the best thing I learned from it is ignore them. Yeah. Don't respond back. You know, if someone posts a nasty comment, someone gets mean, just delete it, block them, move on.
Yep.
Because, you know, don't cast your pearls before swine. If you know you're above it, you know, you fight with the pigs, you're just going to get dirty too.
That's right.
So delete the comment, block them, and move on.
Yeah.
You know, that's showing you right there that you don't feel like you have to defend yourself against this. Right. You're like, I know my worth, and I'm not worth that. So it's always one big thing. Just ignore them. Delete it, block it, move on. Hey, and that means your content's being seen.
Well, that's it. Like, at least you're getting something to criticize. Like, that's kind of,
yeah. That's when you know you're like, okay, people are starting to see this, and that means they're jealous about it or something. You know, all right, I'll take it and move on.
And to recognize, you know, that troll thing. I mean, we all had to survive 7th grade, and it wasn't easy for any of us, right?
Very true.
And so that, you know, that feeling of being criticized, of being, you know, standing there at the lunchroom, not having anybody where to sit, feeling like people are judging us and like they don't like us, that's terrifying to us as human beings. To everyone. It's not a low self-esteem thing. That's a survival mechanism thing,
yes.
right? It is important to us that we are liked by other people because we are born to live in a group.
Mm-hmm.
That's what humans do. Just like chimpanzees live in a group. Like, we are large mammals who like to live in a group. So we're very aware of other people's judgments and other people's raised eyebrows and other people's little comments. So I just want to give you permission to have those feelings. And I want to give you permission to be a grown-up, a good parent to yourself, and move past those feelings and say, honey, I know it's scary, but you got this. You're okay.
And find your people that will encourage you. Have your group. That's one reason I love being in this mastermind with Sam, is because it's like, I might be discouraged or upset, and there's other people in that group who are going to say, no, you're doing this. Like, keep going. Or, yeah, that's not working. Let's help you. You know, there are people that care about you. So find that group of people that are going to push you and are going to be there to support you when that kind of stuff comes along.
I always, and I will also say, I've been incredibly fortunate. I've been at this for a really long time, and I can count the number of mean comments I've gotten. I might have to use my like less than 10. I mean, really, it's so few. Partly because the people I work with tend to be incredibly nice, interesting, wise, creative, fun people. You know, I don't attract mean people. So,
yes.
And sometimes I remember, especially when we were experimenting with running some ads, and it was just a lead ad. So it was just like, hey, give us your email and we'll send you this free thing. We weren't even asking them to buy anything. And the thing we were sending was fairly high value, I thought. And we would get these comments of like, they just want your email so they'll sell you something. I'm like, correct. Well spotted.
Move on.
You saw through my clever ruse.
Exactly. That everyone already knew, but
like, yeah, obviously. It's like the time on I only felt like a real writer when I finally got my first 1-star review on Amazon.
There you go. There you go.
It was somebody writing about like, hey, you know, yeah, this is all that you can do it, rah stuff. I'm like, why?
Yep.
Yes, it is.
Like, and obviously you need more of that in your life.
Right. And if you hate you can do it rah stuff, you're right. You will not enjoy my book. Please set it down, walk away, go find your people.
Yeah, your book isn't made for everyone, and that's okay. Your social media content isn't going to be made for everyone, and that's okay.
That's right. Lori is saying that she came in because of a quiz I created, and quizzes are a great way to get engagement. Even just a little poll. You can do polls on LinkedIn. You can do polls on Facebook. Great way to get engagement. The quiz you gave about being creative, and then that brought her to this Thursday morning time, and then she's taken courses and bought my books, and she quotes me in her writing. Yeah, so we're like big pals. Oh, and again, don't forget how much we love the animals. Oh, come on. Archie, sweet banana. You want to say hi? Archie's got a little bit of a wonky eye. That's how we can tell from his brother and from his sister. Heather says, yeah, it's almost like I'm trying to run a business. Almost. Yeah. Great. This is Kaylee. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing your wisdom with us. And I so appreciate the simplicity that you bring to this. Anything else you want to say? Like, again, for those who feel shy or just aren't quite there yet, any other words of wisdom?
Yeah, I would say don't put too much pressure on yourself.
Mm.
Don't start off thinking I have to post 3 times a week. Start off posting 1 time a week. Move on from there. You know, it's a journey, it's a process. And if you try to jump into it and be just like your favorite creator, you're going to fail. Yeah. You need to take your path and learn how to do it at the level you need to do it. And you can. I firmly believe that everyone can be on social media. And you got this. You can do it. Like, you can. So that's what I would say. So thank you so much, Sam, for having me on. It's always great to just talk with you. And yeah, you're amazing. So
I like hanging out with you too. I'm so glad we got to do this. Everybody get Kaylee's free guide at therealsambennett.com/Kaylee, Kaylee, Kaylee. And it's tell the people what's in there so they know what they're getting.
Yeah. So that's all going into a little bit more of the details and analytics behind all of this. So it's like, what percentage of males are going to be on a platform? What type of content do people want to see on there? So it goes through the 6 main platforms and just gives you detail. If you're like, I don't even know what platform to start on, that'll help you figure that out pretty easily.
Fantastic. Said, thanks for shining a light on what feels like muck. You turned it into puppies and rainbows. Yay. Heather says, this is awesome. Clark says, thanks. Well, thank you all for spending your time with us. There's our friend Leslie. She says, well done, you two, keeping it so real. And big kisses to Veronica. Thank you so much, Veronica, for being here, and Lucy. And yeah, y'all stay in touch. Let us know. You can reach out to Kaylee at what's your website, babe?
Yeah, it's digital-journey.net.
Digital-journey.net. Okay.
Yep.
Great.
I'd love to talk to anyone who wants to. I love talking about this kind of stuff. So
yeah, friend her on LinkedIn, friend her on the Facebook.
Please.
Check out her own feed, and if she can be of any help to you, you know, she's available for hire. And
absolutely love to help you out.
She doesn't charge nearly enough, so get in early. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Great to see you all.
Bye.
Bye.